Film Red might actually be canon, and the Island of Music, also known as Elegia, might be the Straw Hat's next destination, and the key to this is the last few chapters of Wano. So Film Red was just released in Japan, and according to many articles about it, there are a few canon aspects like the ability of the red-haired pirates and Shanks' power. But with the opening page of chapter 1055, we basically got confirmation that Uta, the daughter of Shanks, is canon as well, which is huge. It's been 13 years since the same thing happened with Shiki the Golden Lion from Strong World, except he was a part of the Rocks Pirates 38 years ago, meaning he was a veteran before half the main cast was even born. Right now his current status is unknown, but he was a pirate from Roger's era, meaning he's most likely out of his prime and can't be as big of a threat as the Yonkos or the Admirals if he was alive. And while that news was big, according to this SBS question, the author of One Piece, Eiichiro Oda, intended for Shiki to be a major figure of the Pirate King's era, not a part of the current One Piece. But what about Uta? What was the purpose in making her canon, especially since she has such close ties to Shanks, who's bound to play a major role in the story? It makes no sense to add a character with such an important background to the series just for everyone to pretend she doesn't exist for the rest of the story. If you read the last 25 chapters of Wano Weekly, you would have noticed that many chapters ended with very similar panels, making little to no progress in the actual plot. An example of this is chapters 1045 to 1049. There were also many instances where side fights dragged on a lot longer than they should have been, and while a lot of people think that's just another pacing issue, I think it was intentional since Wano ended up being the longest arc in the series. After they finished the war, Oda decided to go on a 1-month hiatus to quote-unquote prepare for the final saga. But why do this now? Why stop at 1053 when the end of Wano was set to be 1057? It's entirely possible Oda just wanted a break, but Shanks' arrival to Wano matches up way too well with the release of Film Red. It was almost as if he purposely went on break so that he could promote the movie with the manga the day he comes back. That's not the only reason he did that. It was announced many months before the release of the movie that he had heavy involvement in writing it, more involvement than he's had with any other One Piece film, and when you match it up with the manga, the premise makes sense as a sequel to Wano since Luffy and his crew are leaving in the manga at the same time that they're arriving to Elegia in the movie. A promotional poster was put out of Luffy in his Gear 5 form, which is exclusive to the manga at the time of its release, and Gear 5 is confirmed to exist in the movie. Of course, the only way for this to happen is if Film Red happened after the events of Wano. I'm guessing it would be somewhat like Dragon Ball Super and the Broly movie, where they just put a page saying the events of the movie happened here, and then they just moved on to the next saga. Either way, we'll finally be getting a new arc which all fans are looking forward to. Even if the events of Film Red would equate to a minor arc, as things stand, it's entirely possible for the movie to be canon. And for the good chance it won't be, there was something really interesting that I found about the other possible next island while doing this video. I used a website called Sportskita to find that SBS I showed earlier in the video, and I came across something that absolutely blew my mind. Now, I'm not 100% sure how accurate this is, but it was said to be a map of the New World drawn by Oda himself for a magazine. Of course, it was in Japanese, so I did a Google Lens search, and although I couldn't find an English translation, I did find a Spanish translation that was readable even for an English audience. So according to this map, in chapter 1056, Law took the island with the most progression, which is Elba. Kid took the route with less progression, which is the Island of Pirates, also infamous for now being Blackbeard's territory. Luffy took the route with no progression to a place called Sphinx Island, which is the same one Marco was on before he came to Wano, also known as the island that Whitebeard was born on. So what significance does this island have? Well, Whitebeard and Ace were buried by Shanks, a whole different emperor, in what was said to be near Whitebeard's homeland, which I would assume since it's an island in the New World, Whitebeard probably made his territory before he died. As we saw, there was still peace 2 years after his death. Was Marco protecting the citizens all this time, or are Luffy and his crew about to head into Shanks' territory?